The 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike three. Wrap this one up in green and white.
Hello, RailCats fans, and welcome back to another edition of the RailCats Talk podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Savedich, and my God, did the Milkmen come to the wrong stadium last night. Woo! What a game that was. Oh, Lord. But I want to first out by saying I'm sort of disappointed. I'm kind of disappointed in myself. I had the tragedy of the beautiful pinstripe white-green hat destroyed by my dogs. And I go to the stadium expecting to see maybe a hat of it, and they're sold out of it. I'm kind of disappointed in myself that it happened. So maybe next year, or maybe I could find something online. I'm just kind of sad about it. But I did get a new hat. I do like it. It's nice. I like I'm starting to come back with like the snapback kind of deal with the adjustable fit. I don't know, something about it again. It's kind of nice for me. The fitted hats are nice and everything, but it just feels more comfortable. But once that green hat, or once that white hat comes rolling around, I'm grabbing it again, because love that hat. But that's beside the point. I digress from where I'm going from. 24-7 is the final score of last night's game. I don't know if I should feel embarrassed for the Milkmen, because realistically, the eighth and the sixth inning were their worst innings, but the eighth inning was probably the most ferocious inning I have ever seen, or I've seen so far in the American Association. Cause that was I'll get into that. It was bad. It was bad. It was just a clown show, basically, from the Milkmen. But starting off the game, I didn't think it was going to go the way it did, as the RailCats were down 5-0 at the end of the first inning. And I don't know if it's so much that you could blame Edward Cuello for the way he was pitching. I just think the Milkmen saw him very well, and they are loaded with left-handed bats. Because Torres, Kingor, Gomez, and I believe Barnum, he might be a right-hander, but I mean, they started off with the top three being lefties, and they all got on base, and they all scored. Yeah. And after that, I mean, Cuello was a shutdown pitcher after that, because I think he got replaced in the fifth, and he didn't give up a run until the fifth. Or I don't think he even gave up a run in the fifth, because he didn't give up a run in the fifth. It all came in the first, because he was pulled in the top of the fourth with 2 outs left. It was Eisenberger who gave up the 1 run in the fifth. I don't know. Something's not matching up there. Somewhere along the lines, something's not quite matching up in what that was. That's beside the point. So the RailCats actually started out the comeback back there in the first with a home run from Walraven on a 2-2 count, and some may say that might be a controversial call. He hit it out to left field, and from where I was sitting, with the fencing, sometimes it's kind of hard to see exactly what the ball's going to do, or the ball goes. And to me, it looked like it hit the top of the padded wall, and you would assume that might have been a home run, but the yellow line is on the fence, the chain link fence above that padded wall. And the ball came back in play. Walraven rounded second like it was a home run and just kind of kept trotting around the bases. The third base umpire was like, I don't know if it's a home run or not. And the second base umpire is just doing like one of the, like, he wasn't going like this. He was just kind of like going like this. So I don't know exactly what happened there. If someone had a better view of it, please let me know. But I thought it was a home run. My fiance didn't think it was a home run, so it was kind of one of those who knows what happened in that situation. But then after that, everyone went down in order besides Mariaga, who walked. And then Sam Abbott did it again. I know in yesterday's podcast I was kind of may have talked bad about Sam Abbott, but I it wasn't the form that I was talking bad about him as far as a player, because I thought he's a decently good player and he has the power to hit the ball. He just hasn't been consistent. And today last night he was very consistent. He got on base every time. He went 2 for 3. I'm not every time. My bad. He did strike out in the fourth, but he went 2 for 3, and he got hit by pitch two at bats in a row, which I'll get into that one. That was kind of finicky on that one. So I mean, he had a home run and a double, which kind of what I went along the lines of what he typically kind of does. He either hits a home run, strikes out, hits a double or a single, and then you get hit by a pitch twice. But still, nonetheless, he had a great night last night, and he might get more at-bats, which if he keeps producing the way he is, I would see him getting more at-bats. It's just sometimes he hasn't been quite the most consistent player, and I think tonight, or I keep saying tonight because I'm so used to doing after the podcast or after the games. Last night, he was more, he had a better approach at the plate, I should say. He just wasn't going up there hacking and swinging for power. He just kind of felt more comfortable. It looked like he was a little bit more comfortable. He looked like he went up there with a plan and not just swinging for the fences. So it was good to see some more improvement. So maybe that was just a talk throughout the coaching staff with him, was like, hey, this is what needs to happen. Your approaches may need to change a little bit, and when it changes a little bit, sometimes better things can happen. And then after that, Greeley struck out, Scatlin grounded out to first, and then going into the third, Walraven walked, Woodward struck out, Lingua hit a triple, which brought in Walraven. And then there was a wild pitch, I believe. Yeah, it was a wild pitch that brought Lingua home on that portion of it. So at this point of the game, it was 5-4. And, you kind of felt the excitement in the stadium kind of, rise a little bit. I know it was almost a 4-hour game. So, that portion of it kind of, the almost halfway point was getting everyone going. Mariaga lined out, and then Nova popped out to third base. And then the fourth inning, nothing going on there. Castillo hit a single, and then Castillo, I think, is a great hitter. I think he is a terrible fielder and a terrible base runner. He just doesn't have the speed. All right, I think that's the issue. He just doesn't really have the speed. When he catches the ball, he just flings the ball wherever he wants to. I know he's made some comments, but I'm not 100% on those comments, what he said. I do want to have a podcast kind of like what makes a fan kind of podcast dealio, because not every person that goes to a baseball game is a fan of the team or a fan of baseball in general. Sometimes they just get brought to a game and they just go to enjoy it, or whatever the case may be. And there are some people that genuinely enjoy baseball, may not always get to go to games, may not always be able to afford going to games, so they get the cheaper seats and may only go once a year. Not saying that those aren't fans, because they are. Most people that follow the team on TV or follow the team outside of that are fans. Those are the bigger fans. Then you have some people that have season tickets that go to get piss-ass drunk and don't really know what's going on, but they have season tickets because they have season tickets. They have the money to get season tickets for games, right? Then you have people that have season tickets that generally go to the game, generally watch the game, understand the players, get to know the players, and, venture off to different ballparks to watch those players, right? There's no difference between a fan that goes once a year but still follows the team versus a fan who has season tickets and goes to every single home game. There's not a difference, other than maybe they go to more games than the other in game. Beside the point. They're still, both of them are supporting a team. Where things get a little finicky are but I'll get into that maybe after the season, like a postseason kind of podcast, that kind of deal. But going from Castillo, yes, is he a good offensive player? Yes. There's just something about him that in the field, I think he would be a good just DH. Let him DH, all right? Because when he got caught stealing, he was out by a mile. So I don't know if he got a terrible jump. He just doesn't have the speed. I just don't know what it is, but there's just something about that. There was no reason in that spot for him to steal the bag, right? Especially being the third out of the inning. There was just nothing behind it. I don't know if they were trying to set up a hit and run, or whatever the case may be on that one. I don't know what it was. It just seemed like a terrible decision at the moment to take the game in your own hands and do it. There's other people that you allow to steal. Woodworth, Lingual, Mariaga. I don't know if Castillo thinks that he is about the size of Mariaga. Mariaga has just unbelievable speed. For as big as the dude is, he's got some speed. And so I don't know if it's just one of those things. It is what it is on that portion of it. Nothing happened in the fifth. Everyone went down with strikeouts. And then things opened up. The floodgates opened up here in the sixth inning. Where Castillo starts it out, strikes out. And then was it? No, my bad. Now, everyone batted around, so I gotta go back here. Lingual actually started out. He walked. Mariaga hit a single. Nova hit a 2-run triple. Castillo struck out. Abbott got a double, which brought in Nova, and then a strikeout, and then Scatlin hits a single, and I think there was double error kind of play, which I'm pretty sure brought Abbott in, and then Lingual hit a double, which brought in Scatlin, and then Mariaga struck out. So I don't know exactly. Things kind of blur from the night before and tonight. I know there was a handful of different, like, down the line plays that happened. I think it was Abbott that hit one that almost hit the bag. I think the same thing happened with the Milkmen. They had a handful of, like, bloopers kind of deal that just kind of fell in a spot where no one was at. Or just good base hits. That kind of deal. Then going into the seventh, the RailCats scored 4 more. And the funny thing about the 7th and the 8th inning is they almost started out identical. Okay, so in the 7th, Nova strikes out looking. Castillo hits a double. Abbott gets hit by a pitch, and that one hit him like in the meat of the shoulder kind of deal. Greeley gets a double. Scatlin walks. Walraven strikes out. I think Woodworth got hit by a pitch. Lingual singled. I think I didn't write down who got RBIs because in the moment it was a lot going on in that moment. It was consistently going. And then Mariaga struck out. So then going into the 8th inning, Nova starts again, gets struck out looking. And then Castillo, this is kind of where things kind of just all fell apart from the Milkmen, because Castillo hits a ball and to the shortstop. Shortstop should have had it, muffed it. He gets on base. Abbott gets hit by a pitch. They brought in a new pitcher, which was actually the third baseman. Townbridge came in. First batter he hits is Greeley. Right out of the pen, he hits Greeley on the first pitch. Or third pitch, whatever the case may be. I think it was an 0-2 count. He gets hit by a pitch. Scatlin walks. Then Walraven hits a single. Woodworth hits a double. And then Lingual hits a line shot right to the third baseman. Or not third baseman, the first baseman, which easily should have been handled. He muffed it. And then after that, I just stopped scoring. Because my book was full. So I will rely on points point streak here to get me through the rest. So where were we? Scatlin, let's see. Now he gets hit by a pitch. Scatlin scores. I was all the way back to Lingual, it was an error by the first baseman. An error by the first baseman. Walraven scored, and then Jesus Mariaga hits a single, which brought in Woodworth. Then Nova hits a 3-run shot. That was the last of it. But Nova hits a 3-run shot, and everyone's just like, all right, it's over now. It's over. All of it's over. It's over. It's over. Like, at that point, it's just like wave the white towel. Like, it's over. Like, there's no way the Milkmen are coming back at all. Because in the ninth inning, the Milkmen just didn't go quite down in order. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. We thought it was gonna end on Aaron Hill, and Walraven made an error. But Augie Voigt came in and kind of shut the door and everything. So, looking at the RailCats right now, they are just, we're talking about their pitching has to stay hot, and we weren't sure if that was going to happen, especially coming back to the Steel Yard. They haven't really been the best at the Steel Yard. They've been a lot better on the road. I don't know what it is about home. I don't know so much that if they struggle at home because of the interaction with the fans, they're maybe not fully focused on the game all the time. And I'm not saying that's a horrible thing. I just think that they still have to be able to. It's with any American Association player has to be able to. That's the difference between the American Association and the higher you go. Is because normally the higher you go, the less you deal with the fans, maybe pre-game, and you deal a little bit more after game. But during the game and before the game and after the game, there's a lot more interaction with the fans. So I don't know, sometimes that may, how should I say it? You may lose a little bit of focus on that aspect of it, because normally when you go to away ballparks, you kind of get haggled a little bit, you get heckled, that kind of stuff. It's easier to tune that stuff out, or whatever the case may be, and focus on the game, or maybe use that to motivate you. But when a fan's like generally talking to you, it kind of may distract you a little bit. So I don't know if it's one of those things, or it's just maybe them just playing at home is just a little bit different this year for them. But it was nice to see them, kind of trail by 5, but then come back and actually get a win, tie the game, and then put on a boatload of runs. And we're starting to see a boatload more of runs and more abilities to hit the home runs, but consistently getting runs in and getting hits. And it may not be all singles, it's doubles, it's triples, it's home runs. They're being more productive at the plate. And that's a positive thing, because they're starting to catch a little bit of fire here. They're on a 5-game winning streak. They've won 11 out of 16, and that dates back to the first game against Cleburne at Cleburne. So things are starting to they're starting to catch a little fire. I know they lost the series um, against the Canaries, and then they swept the Dogs. I know that the Milkmen are coming off of getting swept, so it was gonna be more interesting. I think they had a little bit more motivation. I think they were more on their toes than the RailCats were last night. But I think the RailCats just found a way to come back and win it. And I mean, it's just showing that they're going to be able to compete. This roster that they are able to compete with the higher ranking players or higher ranking teams in the division at least. And it's going to be interesting because coming down the stretch, they're going to see the Milkmen again. They're going to see the Dogs. Like, it's not going to be easy. They're going to see Cleburne. Like, I don't know what it is, but I don't know if they just found their offensive prowess from the Cleburne series. I don't know if the Cleburne series kind of woke them up and go, what's going on with the pitching staff? Like, I think something clicked or something just happened and things are just starting to kind of come in motion, or they're just realizing that it's down to crunch time and they have to start getting hot. And this is the time that you want to start getting hot. It's either now or you could have waited a little bit, but I think right now was the perfect time. I think for teams in order to get hot and make a good postseason run that have a cushiony playoff spot is going to be right about now. The Dogs, Milkmen, those are the types of teams that need to start getting hot in order to be successful, because the majority of the time it's not so much the team that is on the top of the division that comes in and blows everyone out. Majority of the time you can kind of pick when a team gets hot, and that may be a month or two or a month before the playoffs start. That may be while the playoffs are going. It may be a day or two before the playoffs start who starts getting hot, and that's typically who's going to drive you to the furthest point of the playoffs and maybe win a championship on that aspect of it. So I would like to see the RailCats just kind of keep building on. I know that the sustainment of it would be great to have them sweep a team two or sweep series is back to back. That would be awesome. Is it realistic? Probably not. But with the way this offense is going, I could see it. If their pitching staff can keep the runs below 5 or 6 and not let it all pile up on once and not let them kind of get deterred away or turned off from trying to focus on the game, they have a high chance of winning any game that they're going to go against. And that's kind of been like that all year. They've had a couple games where their pitching staff has been great, their defense kind of sucked, offense really wasn't there, or pitching's been great, defense is great, the offense wasn't there. So, like, that was beginning of the year. That was kind of kept going on, but I think the offense starting to come around. I think they're starting to get the players that you need to be productive. Nova's been very hot for the team. He's been very productive. He's a notable player. Woodworth has been notable. Walraven has been very noticeable at that leadoff spot. I like him there. He's been productive there. I know Lingual has been going through his ups and downs. Even Castillo has been very well. Mariaga's kind of been a little bit on the slower side. And then your 7th and 8th, 9th players kind of been rotating. I mean, even Sam Abbott in the past 2 games getting home runs has helped the RailCats. Any kind of production kind of always helps. But looking at the pitching line for the RailCats, Edward Cuello went 4 2/3 innings, giving up 8 hits, 6 runs, 5 which were earned, 2 walks and 7 strikeouts. And like I said, I'm not sure exactly if Cuello may have not had his best stuff last night, but they just seem to be they were just seeing him very well. There's a difference between a pitcher not having his stuff and a team being able to see someone very well. Or you could vice versa. Maybe he really was just having a rough first inning, because then he shut the door there in a little bit. Sorry. So I just woke up. Sort of woke up. But it's just been Cuello, he coming off that injury, so on and so forth. It's kind of hard to tell. From my eyes, it just looked like they just kind of picked their pitches and they went with them. But then after that, it was just kind of hard for anyone to touch Cuello. Aaron Phillips gets the win. He pitched 1 inning, 1 1/3 innings, walked 3, struck out 2. Julio Villavista came in. He pitched 1 inning, struck out 2. Jack Eisenbarger came in, and he gave up 2 hits, 1 run, which something just doesn't add up in the point streak here, because I thought maybe it should have gone to Aaron Phillips or Villavista, because at this point he would have pitched. Oh no, my bad. I know why that is now. I got it now. The run that was given up by Villavista, or not Villavista, by the walk. What, I don't know what it. However, it turned out. I think Phillips gave up a run, which in terms went to Cuello because he was still on base at the point. So Jack Eisenberger did give up a run on 2 hits, and then Augie Voigt came in and struck out 2. So, which the Jack Eisenberger run wasn't earned. So outside of the bullpen, no one really gave up any earned runs. There was a run given up, but none of them were earned on that aspect of it. Looking at the batters here, so everyone except Scatlin got a hit. And then everyone except Mariaga and Castillo got RBIs, which is ironic for Scatlin, because he went 0 for 3 but had 3 runs and 2 walks with 1 strikeout. I think there was a fielder's choice or something in there, an error. But it was just everyone was like, all right, let's hit the ball. So I thought I knew everyone scored. Everyone did score. I thought maybe everyone got a hit, but that's not the case. But it looked like everyone did get on base. So sometimes when you look at the scorebook, sometimes you don't look at it fully. But looking off at Walraven, he went 3 for 5 with 4 runs, 3 RBIs, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. Woodworth went 2 for 5, 2 runs, 4 RBIs, 2 strikeouts. Lingua went 3 for 5, 3 runs, 3 RBIs, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. 1 strikeout. Mariaga went 2 for 5, 2 runs, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. Nova went 2 for 6, 2 runs, 5 RBIs, and 2 strikeouts. Castillo, he went 2 for 6, 2 runs, 1 strikeout. Sam Abbott went 2 for 4 with 4 runs, 2 RBIs, 2 strikeouts, and get hit by a pitch twice. And then Scatlin, he went 0 for 3, 3 runs, 2 walks, 1 strikeout. And then I did go over that portion of the pitching staff for the RailCats. So yeah, 3-hour and 50-minute game. That's hefty right there. Attendance was about 5,000 people, so above 5,000 people. It looked like a lot of people there. It was Star Wars night, it was pretty good. Rusty walking around in a Vader costume. There was a guy dressed up with like the Mandalorian with Baby Yoda. I was going to try to get a picture with him, but the game was going on, so. And there's a lot of kids, and I don't want to take pictures away from kids. But it was a good night. Always good time going to the RailCats, going to the game. Fun environment. Fans are always into it, and that's always the best part is the fans are always into it. I don't think you get that elsewhere sometimes, in the American Association, but especially the RailCats, you get a lot of kids there. The kids are always interacting. They're playing in the berm. It's just a fun time. I will always say this to the day that I die, or whatever. However it may work out, but going to a RailCats game, people have fun, and they always put on a good time, pre-game festivals kind of deal, and getting people involved in in the game, getting kids involved, that kind of stuff. It's always about the kids. I think the RailCats always kind of make it about the kids, and I think that's what you kind of want to do. I mean, you get the younger generation going that, hey, the kids want to go, and telling mommy and daddy that they want to go to a RailCats game, so they're kind of obligated to go, and the parents go, that kind of stuff. So it's always good to see that as well. But that's going to wrap it up for me. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. I know you probably enjoyed the win. If you did enjoy the podcast, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Facebook. I will try to comment back on everything you say. That kind of stuff. Questions, comments, concerns. I'm always willing to have a discussion if I missed something and you saw something, that kind of discussions, that, stuff like that. So I'm always here for positive, negative reviews, so on and so forth. But like I said, I'm your host, Kyle Svedich. I want you to enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your evening, whenever you're watching this, and go Cats.